Hello. Today I wanted to talk about principles and logic in our society. You see, society has some basics. The political structure of a society should, in my opinion, be based on logic. But you see, life is not logical in every aspect. There are parts of life, of everyday life, that are not logical. Or, well, they follow logic processes, but they may start from different principles. There is one thing that we can do. We should avoid this kind of stuff in the society. I mean, in the political structure of the society. What we can do is that we can start from common principles. Principles that every person has on its own, honestly. Like they spring from the animal part that humans have, but they are common to everyone. Because there are animal instincts that give us some instances that may even be violent, for example, but those are not common to everyone, so we cannot take them as principles. But there is, for example, one thing that we can take, and that is the fear of death. That is a common thing for every human. For every human being is afraid of dying, or is sad and becomes sad when people hears of die, or are ill, or are sick, or are injured. Therefore, we can use this. The life is a principle. What can we derive from this then? Well, if life is a principle, then what goes against life? Well, we can assume that sickness and so diseases are against life. Therefore, health is a principle of society, and this is a logical process. We started from a principle, we saw what goes against it, and we derived another principle. And that's one of the basics of society. There is the other part of life, and it is that caused by violence, by war, by conflict. Therefore, peace is another principle of society, and it comes from a logical process. It's needed to grant the life of everyone. Peace is needed for this reason. That's why war cannot be a principle of a society. I can understand that this is morally grey and it's not perfect, because if everyone wants to stay alive, they may fear others, but in a global society, this is the case, of course. Okay, we went through the first principle, that is life. Life is composed of a lot of stuff, and if we want, life is the only principle we really need, but we just started from life and we got health and peace. What else do we have? We have freedom and we have happiness. Let's go with order. Freedom is a common instance. Every person, mostly, I mean, there may be people who do not like happy, do not want to be happy, do not want to be okay with life, and there may be people that do not want to be free, but we are statistically saying that this is a universally accepted and a universally common instance feeling. So people want to be free. What does it mean? If everyone wants to be free, then maybe someone could step into someone else's freedom. Yes, but not, because this goes against other principles. For example, you could go against the peace principle. Therefore, freedom is limited. Is limited because you can be happy and you can be free within a certain limit, but you cannot be alive within a certain limit if you are dead, if you are attacked. That's why life, in the sense of health and peace, can limit freedom. So we have freedom. Therefore, if we have freedom, we can understand that something that limits freedom, for example, the power of others that can decide the future of someone, should be contested. I'm not speaking about judges. I'm speaking about people that not following the law limit others people's lives. And what I mean is not only people who act illegally. I mean people who act in ways that will limit the freedom and liberty of a person. For example, possessive attitude of an individual, or, and here we get a bit more political, the repression of the freedom of speech or of action, of even following your own path. And we jump to the felicity or happiness field. Now you see, happiness is like freedom, something that if not limited can and come in contrast with others' lives and others' principles. But if it's limited, it doesn't. There are two parts of freedom, essentially. Mainly one that is necessary, and it's the freedom that comes from within. And then the second one, the happiness that comes from outside. We cannot act on the happiness that comes from outside, because it's related to others, and it would go against the freedom principle. But we can act towards the happiness that comes from inside, from following your own passions. And that's another principle that we can establish because it's universal. There is one last thing that is universal. It may appear less important, but it actually isn't, and it's what drives the progress. It is the fact that people want to feel accomplished. This is not universal really, but it's mostly universal. We can use this as a principle because there are not people against it. There may be people who are neutral towards this, but either they're neutral or they are pro for it. So there is the idea of meritocracy. Therefore, we have our principles. We can build our society. We have life that gives everything, actually. So we can say we have health, peace, freedom, happiness, and meritocracy. We just need this, because nothing else is a principle. Nothing else is universally common. For example, there are animal instincts like dominion, power. But if someone has power, someone else doesn't. Therefore, that person will be against it. That's why we cannot use power as a principle. Power can be a role, can be a way to work in the society, to have a structure. But it's not the basics. It's not something that cannot be contested. A principle, instead, it's something that shall be granted. There are other material principles if we want. We can say people need food, we can say people need clothes, we can say people need a house. Yes, these are principles and they are kind of moral, and we can use them too. But it gets longer, the discussion, and also those are practical principles. We are talking about moral ones, okay? So starting from this, what can we derive? Well, something that I can say is that private health is wrong because it's unfair and it goes against the health principle, because someone can have it, someone else cannot. I can say that certain degrees of economical structures are against freedom, are against happiness, and are against meritocracy, while others aren't. We have something that can become more important than freedom, for example, and that could be work. Work as a problem, and it in the modern world, work can be more important than freedom, and surely it's not always related to happiness. Therefore, we can contest the actual work structure, the job, employment, and all this economical system. Even the fact that some people, for losing the work, could not live properly anymore, goes against probably all the principles, maybe not against the peace principles. What goes against the principle? Well, you guessed it, it's war. War is wrong because it goes against one of the principles of the society, of the global society, I mean. And we can go on and we can analyze everything, and if that thing goes against the principles, then it's wrong. And we have a basic structure of society that works and is fair for everyone, and that's the way our society should go towards or forward. There is another thing that I want to point out, and that's the environment. It simply goes against the fact that we do not care about the environment enough, goes against the health principle, and therefore it's wrong. Just for this simple reason, we don't need anything more than this. It's proven that it's wrong, it's proven that it's harmful to people because it will have consequences, and we just have to consider it wrong, and then we have to act. It's simple as that. Another thing that is useful is, for example, the fact that we can use. It's, for example, the fact that religion is important and it's fair. It's within the freedom context and the happiness context, but it cannot be a principle of a society because it's not universal. Since different people have different religions, you cannot use religion as a principle. It can be in a society. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I actually think it's a good thing and can unite a group of peoples, but it cannot be used as a base principle because it's not universal, would not be okay with everyone. And it's simple as this. We can analyze every topic, we can see if it goes against the principles, and then starting from this we can see what's wrong, what's right, honestly. And I wanted to share this reflection with you, girls and guys. Well, we can keep on talking about, for example, the self-determination or the importance of identify your own sex and with what you want to do, because it does not go against the principles, and forbidding this goes against the principles. That's why that's a good thing. And let's go on with this with everyone. I invite you to think like this and go on with these ideas. Just an invitation. I'm not saying you have to, but I think it works because it's logical after all. It has principles and logical consequences. And that's it. See you soon.